Hey, and welcome to the Grit and Wit Podcast, where we chat about living out Christianity while having fun and enjoying life in the process. With practical and laughable episodes, there's rarely a dull moment. So let's hang out. Let's have fun. I'm your host, Rebecca Caldwell. Welcome to the party.
Try it again.
Check 1, 2, check.
Get real passionate.
I'm real passionate.
Hello again, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. It's your host, Becca, and today I'm joined again
Third time's a charm, right?
by my main man, Trey.
How's it going, everybody?
So, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about human trafficking, and we have all seen the crazy stuff that is happening in our world today. And so, as I was watching the show Station 19, maybe some of you have seen it, it's about like these firefighters, whatever. And these fireworks get set off in this like store. And as the firefighters are clearing the store of all the people, one comes across this kid in the dressing room. And he was in there trying on a suit. Fireworks start going off. Kid thinks there's a gunman in the store, like shooting people. And he's curled up in a ball and he's hiding and he's quiet, which is okay, good. Like, get down and be quiet.
If there was a gunman.
Right. The problem is that when the firefighter goes in there, the kid is just freaking out. He's consumed. He starts talking about like active shooter situations and all that kind of stuff. And he's just consumed by fear. He tells the fireman, I don't even go to the movies anymore. Right. He had allowed the crazy and fear to control his decisions and had him missing out on life. So,
well, fear will paralyze you for sure.
Right.
Just like him cowering in that. I guess that in that situation is probably not a bad idea. Of course, this is a TV show too. But fear can put you in a really bad situation. It can make a bad situation way worse because fear tends to paralyze us.
Right.
It keeps us from moving when we need to move.
Right. So we want to be careful. We want to be aware, but we don't want to be consumed by fear and concerned to the point where it negatively affects our lives and keeps us from doing the things that we want to do. Like, if I want to go to the movies, I want to go to the movies. And I don't want to let the possibility of something happening keep me from enjoying that.
Correct. Because, side note on that, the odds of you being in an active shooter situation, contrary to what the media may say, but really the odds of you being in one of those situations are very, very slim. But it never hurts to be prepared.
Right. So that's what we're going to talk about, right? Being prepared. And we're going to talk about situational awareness. And some of you may want to check out at this point, but this is stuff we need to know in order to make sure we protect ourselves and are prepared should something happen. This is stuff you need to know, stuff like once your kids are able to know, maybe you don't even tell them that's what it is, but you have them paying attention as well, because we want to be aware of what's happening around us. So this does not mean we're going to like walk around in a state of paranoia.
Correct.
Every time I Googled situational awareness, like Jason Bourne images came up, and I laughed because we're not Jason Bourne. We don't have people out for us. Trey is over here playing with I can't even think of the name of it. A tape measure. And I know that he's going to make noise with it, and it's going to pick up on the mic.
I'm being real quiet with it.
Right now. Anyways. Hashtag marriage problems. Okay, so we just want to make sure that we're learning what to do and what to look for. Literally just being aware.
Yep.
In whatever situation that you're in. You don't want to be off in la la land.
Well, and it's really dangerous, especially in our current culture with smartphones, and there's so many distractions. We even if don't have our nose on our phone, we may have headphones in, we're listening to music. Well, that puts you at a real disadvantage if something's happening around you, whether it be, you could be walking down the street and there's a car accident kind of happening behind you, and you can't hear that going on. And having your face in a phone while you're especially out in public really puts you at a disadvantage. It actually makes you a target for thieves and that type of thing.
Right. So you want to make sure you're aware, because if a threat does exist and you are paying attention, then you won't be caught off guard. And who knows, you might even be able to prevent something from happening, right?
Yep.
So first things first, how to be situationally aware. Did I say that right? Situationally aware.
Yep.
Okay. You want to practice mindfulness. Pay attention, basically.
Yep.
Pay attention.
Keep your head up, looking around. Never hurts to take mental notes of things that are happening around you, whether it be cars passing by or you see a car parked even in your neighborhood or something that you're not normally seeing. That doesn't mean you have to call the cops.
Right.
But you want to take note of things that look out of the ordinary.
Part of being aware is being aware of what is normal, so that when what's not normal pops up, you notice it.
Exactly.
This is big, maybe not even just for you, but for those situations where, if something happens to somebody else and they come to you, you get asked questions.
You can be a good witness.
You can be a good witness. So, but most people are distracted, and that can put you in danger. So, if you're walking through a parking lot to go into a store, to go somewhere, right, that you don't want to be on your phone like Trey was talking about. You don't want to be, ladies, you don't want to be digging through your purse to find your keys. If you're going back to your car, have your keys somewhere where you are, you have them ready. You want to check your phone or be distracted in your vehicle with the doors locked. If
not on your way to and from. Right.
Make eye contact with people and speak to them. This is also just really nice. I feel like this is just good manners.
Yep.
I mean, I just think it's kind, right? Mm-hmm. Acknowledge people, see people. It makes a difference for as far as kindness goes and being nice or whatever. So you want to make sure that you make eye contact. And if they are a creeper, then they probably don't want to approach you anymore, because you have now seen them and they know that you saw them and you're paying too much attention. They do not want to bother you at this point.
Yeah, because a lot of whether it be thieves or attackers of some sort, they rely on the element of surprise. So if you've made eye contact, you've seen their face, even statistically, they're less likely to pick you as a target because you've picked them out.
Right. So paying attention and that kind of thing. Even if I leave my house and it's really early in the morning and it's still dark outside, I'm paying attention. Most people are not up at that hour and they're not outside, but I'm paying attention. I'm looking around. I have things ready. And my neighborhood is relatively safe, but I'm still looking and observing. And I've never seen anybody creeping around. I've never seen strange things happening, but I do get to take in the quiet and the peaceful and the early morning, and it's nice. So, bonus, taking in your surroundings could actually be therapeutic, because you do get the stuff that you maybe miss normally, right? The sights, the sounds, the smells, take it all in.
It's one of the reasons I like to hunt. It's because you get out there and you can kind of just look around and
it's a win-win, though.
Take it all in. Yep.
Yeah. So pay attention to who's there. Second thing. So you want to take in their surroundings, that kind of thing, but you also want to take in who's there, right? So we were kind of talking about that. What do they look like? Do you remember what people look like? Now, I've had training in that a little bit, of paying attention to what people are wearing, what color are their clothes, how tall are they, looking for marks on them, that kind of thing. Especially if they look a little if you have a bad feeling, if you have a suspicion, so to speak, you want to make sure that you're taking it all in. You don't have to be nervous or anxious. You don't have to be a nervous Nancy around everybody. Or Ned. Nervous Ned?
Ned or Nancy, depending if you're...
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But Ned's a good end name for a dude. Yep. You don't want to be a nervous Ned. That's not the only end name. There's Nathan, Nathaniel.
Oh, well, Ned sounds better.
Okay. Nervous Ned. Don't be him.
He sounds like a nervous guy.
He does. He sounds nervous. So you don't have to be anxious and all that stuff all the time, but you do want to be calm, controlled, mindful of who's there, right? paying attention to what's normal so that you notice what's not normal. When you go somewhere, paying attention to exits. Because if a situation does arise and you do need to leave, you want to make sure of where the other exits are, what's the closest one to you. You want to be mindful of, even if it's just an emergency situation, you don't want everybody doesn't need to go to the same exit. There was this nightclub that caught fire one time, and a ton of people died because they were all trying to get out one exit. Everybody was panicked. They got locked in, and there was other places that they could have gotten out of. And
right,
so,
because when your flight instinct kicks in and it's time to move, you tend to go to where you're most familiar. So, like, if you have a building that you come in and out of one entrance all the time, if you're not mentally prepared for a situation, if something was to happen, you're most likely to try to exit the door that you know the most. Even though the danger might be in that entrance, people still have a tendency to want to go back to what they're most familiar with.
Yeah. So paying attention to exits, obstacles, who is there. There's this guy, and he talks about playing games, like with his kids. They'll go somewhere for ice cream or whatever, and then when they are on their way home or when they get home, he asks how many people were working there. What did they look like? How many exits were there? And it's a game for them as a family, but at the same time, it does create that awareness of who's there and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that it becomes just a thing that you do. It's not it becomes less.
It becomes something you don't think about quite as much.
Right.
You just do.
You're just doing it, right?
And plus, it makes you, if you pay attention to people, that makes you a better, whether it be a customer or whatever. You know, if you have somewhere that you go regular, then it gives you a chance to compliment somebody's jacket because you liked it and you noticed they were wearing it last week, or whatever the case may be.
And I think that's key too, is that you do begin to take notice of people better. You do begin to see people a little more. And that's, to me, a really valuable thing for us as believers. If you're a believer and you're listening, seeing people, community, that's what we're created for. I talked about that a little bit last week, is, you know, us being in it together, and we can't be in it together if we're not paying attention to one another. Yep. And so this is not just situational awareness, not just protecting yourself, but also, you know, creating that community and paying attention to other people as well. Because here's the thing, is it's not just going to help protect you, but it's also going to make you aware of what other people are going through. You're going to notice when other people maybe are creepy, but you're also going to notice if other people are having a good day or a bad day. You're going to start taking that in. And honestly, I feel like it's going to make you more aware of other people and their feelings. And, you know, that sounds a little sensitive, but what I'm saying is their issues and what they're going through, and being able to celebrate and come alongside other people in community. So I think that's a win for that.
And husbands, it'll help you notice when your wife gets a new haircut.
Hey, pay attention, people. Pretty much, Trey's going to notice if I do something to my hair.
Yeah, because it's never, like, subtle.
I'm really excited about it, though. I don't know what day this is going to be coming out. I don't know if I'll have my hair done next or not, but it's going to be something fun.
Yay.
It's been, quote unquote, normal for a good bit now.
It's not.
It is right now, for sure.
It's normal-ish. It's not original.
It's not. We'll have to wait a while for that, probably.
I want the OEM hair.
What?
Original equipment manufacturer.
Oh, geez.
Just what the good Lord gave you.
Anyway, if you do happen to find yourself alone and someone's giving you an uneasy feeling, pay attention to it, right? If someone appears agitated, don't dismiss those feelings. Get out of the situation. If someone you don't know is approaching you, make sure they know you're uncomfortable. This is where you may seem a little crazy, but rather crazy than a victim of a crime. Okay? So, telling them, I see you, stop, I'm uncomfortable, get out of there. If you're somewhere where other people might be close, scream like a banshee, all right? So, let them know how you're feeling, all right? So,
What does a banshee sound like?
I can't do that here. I feel as though I don't know if I could make a banshee scream unless I was threatened. You know, it's one of those like threat level midnight situations.
Office reference.
So you want to make sure that you are ready. Also, totally off subject. There are some people who try to watch The Office and they don't enjoy it. They don't think it's funny.
I know, and I did the same thing.
I feel like The Office is...
The first time I tried to watch it, I couldn't get into it, but I was like 4 seasons in, so a lot of the jokes didn't make sense when you come in that late.
Yeah.
So you got to start season 1.
But there are a ton of people who can't get through season 1. It's so weird to me.
I don't see how.
I'm like, you're missing out. I don't know what's happening.
So
The Office might be my favorite comedic sitcom.
It's probably one of the best shows to ever come on television.
I just love it. Just love it. Okay. So, trust yourself. If something feels off, it probably is.
Yep.
Now, when you start this, if everything feels off, it might be you. Okay. So
That's possible.
take inventory of what's happening. You know, they say like, if everyone is the issue,
Then
you might be the issue. So pay attention, okay? Do what you need to do to keep yourself safe, and then also to try to keep other people safe as well, right?
Yeah,
you are your brother's keeper.
Yeah, it's not just about you. It's about being able to protect people around you and help those people that are not listening to this podcast right now and are not thinking about situational awareness.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to do something good for other people.
And there are options for you to create better practices and things like that as far as self-defense and awareness. And should you end up in a catastrophic event, there are response classes that you can take to be prepared, right?
And some of those things are just good practice, like we talked about being prepared to help other people, like take a CPR class and some basic first aid stuff could be really beneficial, because more than likely you're going to be in a situation where you happen upon a kid fell off his bike or a car accident or something, maybe more likely than you're getting robbed.
Right.
But so all those things come into effect, and you can have a chance to do well and be a hero. Not really be a hero, I guess that's a big word, but to really help somebody else.
Yeah. So some things you can do to kind of help yourself grow. Play games. Like I was talking about the guy that was playing games with his kids. You can play games with yourself, with your spouse. You know, it could be like looking for obstacles. How many exits can you immediately identify? So that would be a fun game, like going in, who can find the exits first. Looking for obstacles, threats, or anything that could hinder you from escape should something go wrong. I feel as though I do this especially if I'm out of town, I go into like apocalyptic zombie mode where I think I wouldn't go there because there would be too many people, or I am thinking if something happens and we're stranded, this is what we would need to do first. And anyway, that's what I get for watching, I guess, apocalyptic and dystopian type shows and reading those kind of books. So
it never hurts to think about.
Right. If the world does, something crazy happen, I'm ready, friends, at least mentally, I guess. Now, I did watch this show, okay, called Dirty John. It's not what you think. It's about this guy. It sounds really bad, but it's a true life story about this guy who tricks this woman into marrying him. And spoiler alert, so if you want to go watch Dirty John, it's on Netflix. You need to mute the next 30 seconds because I'm about to just bust it out. One of her daughters ends up killing him, and she goes into this interview and they ask her, because he attacks her, so she ends up he's going to kill her, and she ends up taking his weapon from him and kills him. With the help of her canine dog, helps her, right?
Yeah, our dogs would be no help.
Hashtag, you don't know if they felt like I was being threatened, they might.
Come on.
Smeagol would come to my rescue. Franken Weenie. All right, so she ends up killing him, and they're asking her, what was your mindset in that? And she said, I guess it was kill or be killed. And she had that mindset from watching all of these crazy shows, right? You have that mindset, kill or be killed. Okay, anyway. That went a weird way. Okay. Watch people. Be a people watcher. People are funny.
Yep.
And fun. So it's a fun time. Just watch people. Notice how people normally behave. What's normal, what's not. Now, what you think is normal may not be normal for everybody. I just want to warn you. People are weird in their own ways. So one of the best ways to spot trouble is to read people's behavioral quirks. The guy that wrote this little section right here says, I've never been in a fight that I didn't see coming. You can tell by how people stand, by what people say, by their body posture, everything. So if you're paying attention, you can kind of know what's coming at you. Body language, emotions, their voice is going to change, that kind of thing. So paying attention to that. And like I said, limiting distractions and trust your gut.
Yep.
Trust your gut.
Go with the feel. I mean, a lot of times you're right. That instinct that you have about people or about a situation is right. I think that God gave us that to help us in those situations where we could kind of feel something, you know.
Yeah. So take care of yourself and take care of those around you.
Learn self-defense if you can.
Yes.
Jiu-jitsu is really fun. It's a good way to exercise too. So you know, it's a win-win there.
Yeah. So I think that's important. I think a lot of times we think women should take self-defense, but I was in a self-defense class that's geared towards women, and I told them they should have a guys class because to me, it's just as important. You never know what kind of situation you're going to be in, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yep, it's better to be prepared, and it's good exercise too. If you can take a boxing class or jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or anything like that, it's really good exercise, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a good way to relieve stress and all that too.
Right. And so that's all I got. What you got?
Probably the only other big one that most people need to take note of is transitional spaces. Anywhere where you're in a small, condensed kind of area and there's a lot of people moving through. Look, we don't have to worry about this as much here.
Public transportation.
But public transportation, like if you take a subway or you ride a bus or anything like that, or even like events where you're at a ball game or something like that, and there's a lot of people moving through a small area. A lot of crimes are committed in those transitional areas because there's a lot of people moving back and forth through there, and a criminal can snatch a purse or something like that and move out of there very quickly and not be noticed.
And I think as far as not playing the victim, like don't put yourself out there as a victim. So how you carry yourself is important. So, and I'm like good posture. It's not just good for your body. It's good for the people. Like they're not going to come at you if you're walking confidently, if you are making eye contact. And so there's a lot of things that are good for you that will actually deter like somebody coming at you. So if you're confident, if you're making eye contact, then you're looking more like walking in victory, friends.
Yep. Don't nobody want to mess with you.
Right. So you don't have to be aggressive. Just be confident.
Yep.
If you're aggressive, that's all right too. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Couldn't help myself. So yeah. Anything else?
Nope. And I mean, just on a side note, like a lot of people, when they think about self-defense, they automatically think about carrying a gun or something like that. And that's not necessarily what that means. If you're not pro-gun, that's fine, I guess. But if you're not, that still doesn't mean that you don't need to learn some methods by which you can protect yourself and protect your family and just be a good steward of your community.
Right.
Learning CPR and first aid, like we talked about earlier, that helps you be a good steward of your fellow man.
Right. And some people can't carry guns legally.
Correct.
For legal reasons or just because they're uncomfortable with it and just are not comfortable themselves. So
yep, and that's fine. You gotta
do what you gotta do. Make sure that you are prepared, though, just like in your walk with Christ. Like you want to make sure that you're prepared. You've prepared your heart. You've prepared your mind. It's the same thing in our lives and making sure that we're prepared to defend ourselves and protect ourselves and those around us. So
yep.
Take care of yourself. Take care of others.
That's right. That's your responsibility.
All right, friends. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast. If you know somebody who needs to hear it, make sure you share today's episode because sharing is caring. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe, leave a rating and review over on Apple Podcast. And if you want to join the insiders and supporters of the podcast, the financial supporters, you can head on over to patreon.com/gritandwit. That's patreon.com/gritandwit. And as always, I'll talk to you next week, friends. See you then.